I'd like to give the floor over to Noya Govrin, the director of our Lone Soldier Department. I'm sure many of you know who she is. And Noya, please give us a few words.
So thank you, Miriam. Good evening, Israel, and probably good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are in the world. My name is Noya Govrin. I'm the director of the Lone Soldier Program of Nefesh B'Nefesh and the FIDF. I want to thank you for joining us to this very important programming. Like you, the parents, I'm also a mother of two combat soldiers who are now, one of them is in the Gaza border and the other one is in the north. And like you, the parents, yes, I'm concerned. Many thoughts were coming to my, to my mind and emotion. And but I'm trying to stay strong and positive and keep busy with everything that I'm doing. But I can only imagine how difficult it is for you, the parents, to be far away at this time of war, and to be away and not close to your children. I want to tell you, one, that I'm sending you strength and a hug and love from us, the Lone Soldier Program. And want you to know that we are here for you and we'll do everything that we can do from our end. We opened the hotline for you, the parents. You can call 24/7, and we have a very professional staff to answer this line. The number, you saw it in the beginning, 1201-605-7440. It's in New Jersey. It's a New Jersey line, so you can dial from anywhere, any place from the US, and you can reach out to us. Again, this is a wartime, and please understand that we will not have all the answer that you're looking for, but I can promise you that we'll do everything and try to help as much as we can. It can be any logistics thing, even if your children needs a medicine or something that is missing from home or information, we'll do our best. We're working very closely with the IDF, so we have our connection. Our thoughts and prayer are with you, the parents, and especially to all those who are protecting and assisting our country in the front line and around the country. And I want to introduce Rachel Barak-Stein, who is, thank you for joining us,
Thank you very much.
Rachel is an educational psychologist and individual and group therapist. And she wrote 3 books for parents. And I can tell you because she has so much experience working with parents of Lone Soldier. And I know that you will get a lot of information and tools and things to go and continue from here with this unbelievable situation and almost impossible. So, Rachel, please, the panel is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad, not glad is not maybe the exact word, but I'm glad that I can give something to you, the parents of lone soldiers. Being out of Israel, not in Israel, it's like you have all the challenges of Israeli parents and Israeli in general, but you have extra stress because of this active war. I always say that Israel is a country that has constant war, but this is active war, really a situation that it's hard to believe that's happening. And for you, you have extra challenges as your children are in the IDF and you are away, not in Israel. So I'll try to be, brief and concentrate on ways that you can choose for yourself that help you. I mean, there's so many advice and knowledge about crisis situations. I think the challenge is to choose what's right for you as a person, you as a family, you in your community. So what I'm going to give you is like a menu of opinions, interpretations, and many techniques that you can use. And my first advice is really to be observant and choose whatever works for you. Whatever doesn't work for you, if it's true for others, just ignore it. Because the overwhelming situation we have, part of it is reality. And I'm not going to tell you anything good about this reality. It's really difficult and horrific, and words cannot even describe. But at the same time, we were not born today. Most of you have been through crisis before, personal, social, not long ago we had COVID. I mean, it's on another level, I know, but still we had COVID, and like, we're not beginners with stress situations, even though this one is extreme. So I think the best way to deal with this situation is to look for inner resources that they work for you in times of crisis. Use them, and maybe open up to a little more, because this is really unusual. So I'll start, and I've already started, let's say, and really at the end I'll answer any question you want. Try to make it very valuable, and you can implement stuff. Okay. So as I said, these are really times of unusually horrible situation. I mean, even before, it wasn't very peaceful, and many talks with parents of lone soldiers raised, challenges about how to be a parent of soldiers. But now it's active war, and we are viciously attacked, and we are exposed to unpleasant, horrible, sights. One of my recommendation will go to try to expose yourself as little as possible, even though it's hard, I know, we'll talk about it. So we as a nation and private people, we mourn our dead, we support the families, you're part of it. And we really try to encourage the soldiers and ourselves, because I want to say this is a situation that's it's not short. So you cannot hold your breath or really get out of yourself in order to cope. It's a long process. It's already been 10 days and you don't really see the end of it. So we need deep breaths, not just physically, also mentally. We need patience, and we need somehow to handle this uncertainty. One of the big stressors is the uncertainty of what has happened and what is going on. We can't, it's difficult to process what happened, and we don't really know what's going to happen on a personal and national level. So this vacancy tends to be filled with negative thoughts and negative projections, which is normal, but it hurts us a lot. So I want to say at this time, we are trying to look for our best resources, whatever helps us to take care of ourselves. And I'll say it more specifically later. I think this is what we need to do for ourselves, for our families, to take care of ourselves. It's not selfish. It's not as if we don't care. And it's also very important for the children, your children, to know that you're taking care of yourself and not be an extra burden on them in these difficult times. So I want to say one more thing, and then maybe I'll show some slides. It's like, I'm going to send you the whole presentation later. I mean, Nefesh B'Nefesh will, so you can read things, go over them. Just now listen to the main things, see what works for you. I want to say that right now, some people are in active trauma because of the things they really experienced. Most of us are potentially traumatized. We have a potential for trauma, because trauma is, but we're not there yet. We're overwhelmed, yes. We're very stressed, yes. But we're not actually traumatized right now. I want to just define it for you, because, you know, language affects emotions and behaviors. So I think being accurate helps. So we define trauma, I mean, we can have many sessions on that, but we define trauma as a life or emotional threat to ourselves, or life threat, or a huge emotional threat, you know, like that splits life to before and after, and shatters our defense mechanisms, and gets us into freeze state. And then the memories and the experiences we had are embedded in the brain, and they keep affecting life, even in the far future, even after the situation itself is over. Even when the person is relatively safe or completely safe, the trauma keeps haunting him and her, with flashbacks, with being extra irritated and activated. But I want to say, for my knowledge, right now, we're not all traumatized. We're overwhelmed. That's right. I'm going to explain. We're out of our range with activation, with danger, with fear. But still, you can affect the chances of being traumatized. I mean, the more you are active, the more you process what's going on, the more you let your feelings and emotions be processed, and you can speak about them, the more proactive you are, the less you're going to be affected by trauma. And I think this is a goal. This is a legitimate goal at this time. Part of the suffering is we can't control it, but some of it, we can lower the intensity of the hurt, of the damage. I hope that makes sense to you. In this talk, I want to give you a general look at things with techniques, but not practice special techniques with you. I'm going to say later, you have so many, you know, videos and things on internet where you want to practice things actually. I believe in knowledge. I believe in giving meaning to things, words to things, and this really helps to regulate emotions, and also knowing that you're not alone, that what you're going through is normal, abnormally normal, let's say, like something like that. So I want to say that at this time, we want to be more resilient. You know the term resilience, resilient, and you know, it's easy said than done. So I think we all know what resilience is, but I wanna show you a slide. But I'm sure we can't be perfectly resilient. We can try. Look, you have so many definitions, but being resilience is all about, yeah, you can read optimism, self-belief, control of self, willingness to adapt, willingness to be flexible. At this time, for example, we can really fight this horrible reality. Say it can't be. That brings a lot of anger and rage. But the ability to say, okay, this is the reality. How do I cope with it? Or how do I help in this situation? This is the flexibility and the willing to adapt. It helps. Ability to solve problems, maybe not the big problem, but big little problems we have. Emotional awareness, social support, sense of humor. I want to say that it's easy said than done, but still it gives us, you know, something to look forward to. I want to say right now that we are not supposed to be perfect, not supposed to be heroes. That's my opinion. We are supposed to be good enough, if you know the term, and we want to make our best effort. But we can't be perfect. Not us and not the ones around us, family, friends. We can't. We're usually not like that, especially in times of stress. I want, do you see the slides and me at the same
Yes,
time?
yes, yes,
Good.
yes.
So this is a nice visual look at what's called resilience or resilient zone. Like we all have our subjective resilience zone where we are at our best, let's say. We can think, we can reason, we can empathize, we can think abstract, understand things that are overt and covert. Like we use our best cortex, smart brain. And if you can see, when we are at times of resilience, then the curve is flexible. It's like a wave. Let's say something happens, it activates us. We use our body and mental skills to unload and release and recharge. Let's say something happens in your regular life, that annoys you or frightens you. When you're in the activation zone, it's like a wave. It comes, it's activated, and it's gone. It's very flexible. Now, I think what happens now looks more like this. At times of traumatic events, or let's say overwhelming events like now, look what happens to the curve. It's very, very, sharp, it's broken, it's not flexible. And what can happen to us is that we get stuck on reactions, like too much reaction. You can see anxiety, panic, hyperventilation, exhaustion, crying, shouting, like too much, we're stuck there. Or we can be stuck on off. This is very important. It helps understand what's happening. When we're stuck on off, you can see more depression or even flat affection, or detached, or like exhaustion. And this is like, I think, symptoms that you're going to see these days with yourself and others, that we are going to be like stuck on or on off, each one with his own subjective temperament and habits. And it's not right or wrong. What we want to, and I'll give you techniques in a minute, is to bring ourselves back into the resilient zone, where we can also think and not just feel the danger. Maybe you heard of the amygdala, this part of the limbic brain that activates all this survival mechanisms to defend ourselves, as if we were in the jungle. Like the human brain is, part of it is very developed and like very smart. And part of it is smart, but in other ways. It only helps to survive. So when we detect danger, and now obviously it's time of danger, then the amygdala, that part of the limbic brains, pushes the button, tells the body, go fight or flight or freeze, because you have to deal with the danger, like survival, like as if you were in the jungle right now. We were in the jungle right now. There was a lion attacking us. This is how the body feels stuff. And when this happens, this is something I want to show you. It's called the hand model of the brain, Daniel Siegel. I put a video clip for you later, but I'll show it to you. It's like we have the hand representing the mind, the brains that we have. So this is the brain stem that regulates our, autonomic responses, like we breathe, like we have the heat, it regulates the heat, hormones, everything. Now here we have the limbic brain that has the amygdala that takes care of danger. And here is the cortex, the smart part. Now, usually in regular times, we absorb the world with three brains together. We think, we feel, and we sense. But at times of danger, the amygdala, look what happens. It pushes this button of survival, and we flip our lid, as we say. The cortex is detached, jumping like that. And then we find it very hard to think, to reason, to empathize, to be creative. It's all about the survival mechanisms: fight, flight, freeze. I'm sure you heard about it. And what we want to do, resilience, is the ability to bounce back. I don't think it's possible, it's not humane that in such situations we'll stay very calm, relaxed, happy. Won't happen. But we are trying to have these, you know how you call it, when we flip the cortex up, we flip our lids, we try to make it as less intense than possible. So it's different if we flip our lid like this, or we just lose it and the time it takes us to bounce back. Like, I think realistically, it's gonna be up and down and up and down. And this is the flexibility we're trying to look for that really helps. So my advice to you is follow these, observe these processes. Keep telling yourself it's normal. It's normal. It's how we have been wired and programmed for thousands of years to be in a survival mode. And we are not going to fight and argue or judge how we react, but because that also helps trauma. But we are going to try to bounce back to our resilience center, to our values, to our efforts. We'll talk about it in a minute, okay? So this is like more of the, let's say, physiological aspect of it. But now I want to tell you, I try to think, I'm sure you can add to my things more stuff, maybe later, but I want to show you the added stress that I think you as parents that don't live in Israel have, extra to the stress Israelis have and Israeli parents of soldiers. So I was thinking, where you live, you don't live in Israel, for good and bad, so you don't have automatic community support. So other people might, you know, go on with their lives, or you know, everything around is as usual. But for you, nothing is as usual. So it's difficult. And maybe I know from my experience, because I'm in New York, that you're more exposed to foreign news, pro-Palestinian propaganda. You might, you know, and this has very negative effect. Like you're not at home, Israeli home. And I think you can't, for your children, you can't even see them, you can't even imagine seeing them for 5 minutes or hug them because you're away. So you're dependent on small talks over the phone or video. But it's difficult that you can't, you know, cook something for your child or just hug him. This is extra difficult. I wrote here that you might want your children to come home. And then I thought, where's home? This is really a huge dilemma. And maybe, you know, when your children joined the IDF, did all this process, there were conflicts, maybe. I know it happens sometimes, but they made up their mind. And maybe now stress that began then and there resurfaces now, because we're more scared and everything. So it might be part of a long conflict where these kids should be. Again, acknowledge it. Don't necessarily say it, especially not to the children, but acknowledge it. It's not a bad thought. It's not an egoistic thought. It's okay. It makes sense to think like that. And so the communication with your children is even more difficult than usual. You're not at the same time zones. It's not face to face. So yeah, it's even more difficult. And also I can say from my personal experience right now that things from afar look even more difficult. Like you're not there, you don't breathe it, it's more difficult. Yeah, maybe you feel like that. So these are the points I thought, and they're not meant to higher the anxiety and stress. They are meant to acknowledge it and say, that's true, that's what happens, and you're entitled to feel difficulty. And the more you know things, it's better. So I want to say some points. I try to do it with don'ts and do's, how you can support your children from afar. And so just a few points, because it's you know, there are things that you did before this active war. So keep doing them, whatever works. But I want to say, especially at this time, please don't project your turbulent, you know, emotions on your children. That means don't assume they feel like you. So even if you're extremely afraid, that doesn't mean that that's what they feel. So don't project. It will help you, you know, keep the boundaries between you and them, and will help you not burden them with extra stress that's really tough for them. So I would say, even, of course, be authentic, talk about your emotions, but, you know, not to the extreme. Fake a little. You will have time for long, deep talks later. Now, you know, you want to support them. Don't push for details and specifics. First of all, maybe they can't, you know, share it, and maybe they don't want to. They want to get love from you and support and family, you know, smell and taste. They don't, it doesn't matter actually. The specifics and details actually don't matter. It's more the tone, the emotions. So don't push if you can do that. I mean, worry pushes us to details, but not effective. And don't expect the children to support you at this time. I mean, don't take offense if they don't call, if they're not nice. I know. I mean, even if you do take offense, don't stay there. Acknowledge it and say, okay, it's legitimate. I move on. I mean, really, our children cannot absorb our emotions right now. And actually, they shouldn't. So let's keep that as a guideline. And again, take whatever suits you and your child, and drop all the rest. So take a few more points. I mean, it's good that you take care of yourselves, so the kids don't have to worry about you. Like, they want us in the background. They want to know we're okay, worry, loving, of course, but they want to know that we are good, and they can come and take what they need from us when they need it. So what you do more and more is listen to them, acknowledge what they feel, support, encourage them, even take pride in them, and help them to, what we do here, you can do with them, you know, like help them to find their resources, show them you trust them. Again, and you know, sometimes I find that we as parents can maybe make them, sometimes we can make them smile. You know, if you send them family photos or funny anecdotes that are, you know, private for your family. And sometimes I want to say we are going to be the garbage can for them, where they can be unpleasant and, you know, aggressive, because with us they can do it, with others they can't. They have to take care of themselves. So sometimes this is our job, to absorb even the negative aspects of the situation. So don't be alarmed if that happens. It shows connection. So now I want to ask you a question, and ask yourself in your heart this question. During these 10 days, maybe it changed, but right now, what's the main emotion you feel? What's the main emotion? I mean, we have a lot of emotions, but I think subjectively, we all have a specific one or two emotions that are dominant. And I want to say that it's important to identify them. And it helps to know if this is an emotion I know from previous crises, even if the intensity is different. Let's say I tend to be angry at the situation, angry at the politicians, angry. So do I know this emotional reaction? If I know, the more I recognize it, it's easier for me to regulate it. If the emotion is like strange, new, okay, I'll try to figure that out. But I think from my experience, usually what comes up are emotions that we know, maybe in a different intensity. So if you ask yourself that, let me show you a list of emotions people usually feel. It's at times like this. So that will make us feel that we're part of a bigger universe, and that's the human nature. So I know from experience that self-awareness helps. So we know that some people are angry, some people are mostly sad, anxious, stressed, grief. Exhaustion is also an emotion, sensation, let's say. Helplessness, hostility, depression, depressed. I mean, not from the psychiatric definition. Many people are cynical, and some are unusually, as if happy. So it's important to recognize your emotion, and also, let's say, the emotion of your spouse or children that are around you, and acknowledge it doesn't have to be the same emotion. Sometimes with couples, you see someone taking over the emotion of anxiety, so the other one can be angry. So acknowledge the fact that it's very subjective, and I say something I think you know, that all emotions are valid and legitimate. There is no right emotion. Everyone, each one of us tries to find the coping mechanism that works for him. So look at the emotions, be aware of them, and try to figure out how you can regulate them. Okay, next question goes to behaviors. I mean, we all have behaviors that happened in a crisis, in times of crisis, maybe behaviors you do now. And again, it might not be the same as others, but we want to judge the behavior. Behavior we judge because some behaviors are more legitimate, some are less legitimate, especially if you hurt someone else while you do this behavior. But I want you to see the variety of behaviors that are possible, that are there at times of stress, and try to recognize what's yours. So see, I think you can read it, but I'll say it fast. Like, some eat a lot, some don't, some sleep a lot, some don't, some get into fights, it decreases tension to fight. Anger is it's a strong emotion, and it's very close. It's easy to express. Much more difficult is to be in sadness and vacancy. So sometimes people get into fights, some cry, some shout, some shut down, some look for closeness, some detach, some want to share, look for friends, others don't want to be bothered, they go to escapism. Some watch a lot of TV, some don't, some clean, it helps, it goes to physical mechanism. So some try to hate, some try to help, and some hate and blame everybody. Some become sarcastic, aggressive. You recognize these behaviors from around you? See how vast is the variety. And some ignore, and some just shop, and some become silly, which is really, imagine at the same house, you have someone who's really anxious and worries all the time and wants to talk about what's happening, and another person who just wants not to think about it and is trying to be silly or be extremely optimistic. I think this can create a lot of extra tension. And if you pay attention to that and be compassionate to the other person and yourself, and know that it's all reactions to stress, then if you can talk about it like this, you can find a way not to push each other's buttons so much. Okay, so I think this situation needs a lot of patience. Patience is not an easy resource at times of crisis, because we want to get rid of this unbearable situation, but we can't at the moment. So all we can do is try to calm ourselves as much as possible and have long breath till this thing is, let's say, over. It will be over eventually. So we want to try to not be aware of our emotions, and at the same time, just don't just shower them on everybody. Really try most of the time not to be not to criticize people. Try to do less doubt, less self-doubt and anger, because it helps the environment to be better. Now, I go to next section.
Rachel, before you go on to the next section, because I believe that this really has what to do with what you were talking about.
Okay.
Someone has asked, given all of the tools that you've just shared, behavior and emotion, but how can any of us keep it together for so long with the uncertainty of the duration of the war? How can we hold on?
No, I totally understand the question and the feeling that comes with it, because we want to scream, we can't. It's not possible. We can't. But it's not cynical what I say. I think we can. Like we scratch all the resources we have, and I'm going to give you more advice. Like we take breaks from it, we detach from it, we look at it as if we are running a marathon, not a short sprint. It's a marathon. So we are going to do it, find resources and cope. And at the end, it sounds, uncanny right now, but I think we're going to be proud of ourselves, because we are really human beings. I want to say, except terrorists, we are really human beings who are trying to do our best. So this helps get more energy. We're going to do it because we have no other choice. So now I don't know if it answered, but it's the thoughts go to that direction. I've tried to organize, and maybe I won't be able to tell you all, but you can read it. I've tried to organize all the techniques of coping, divided into 5 categories. Now, you know yourself from before. You know what's best for you. Like if you're more a physical person, or you're more a person that likes to think, verbalize, or you're more a person of emotions, or more a person of habits, or social interaction. So I think it's 5 categories. Things we can do with our body and our neurological system, because the stress comes from the neurological system. As I said before, the body is activated. So first thing is to deactivate the body. Cognitive ways means giving words and meaning to things. We started that already. I'll tell you more. Emotional methods come to help us to process our emotions. But I want to say some people don't like to process their emotions. So do what works for you. Maybe a little bit of what's not natural for you. Because at this time, we are all thrown out of our comfort zone. We're not in our comfort zone. We're in war zone. So we can't stick only to what always works for us. We need to elaborate and be more flexible. So pick from the menu some other stuff. And so let's go through it. I organized here from the internet, short videos that give you a resource, how to work with the stress reactions, how to deactivate the anxiety in the body. Some of it you might know: mindfulness, somatic experience by Peter Levine. I've studied that for 3 years. It's really helpful through the body to breathe, to anchor, to ground yourself. If we have time, we can do an exercise. Meditation helps, NLP techniques work, yoga, conscious breathing. I want you to know that there are many, many ways hypnosis, self-suggestions, like telling good things to you. Even music affects the body, and prayer, I want to say, it has a body effect. And this is something I saw on the internet, and I know it's very practical. See, I go back to the hand. Like, you know, you look at the hand, you can do it with children, adults, everything. You go and you say, you go up the finger and you inhale. Try to do it. And you go down the hill and you exhale. Go up the hill, inhale. I think the mechanism of breathe in, breathe out, you know, it helps. And here, when you touch it, it really makes it stronger. Some of you might know the tapping technique. I also put a video for that, where you say something positive that you believe in. Like, I know I can make it, and you tap here, you tap here, you can look at it. It's really a practical method. Again, see what works for you. A lot of techniques like that. So now I want to show you, it's important to take care of the body-mind situation. So find small routine, even few minutes a day, or when you feel that you're activated, you watch something on the news, go and say, I'm going to do this routine, something. And the body is very responsive to it. It reacts very good to these techniques, whatever works for you. So if you feel you can't control the activation, please consult someone professional. I know that in Israel, and I hear that you offer that, you can talk to professional people who are, you know, specialize in stress reduction. And also don't be shy, you know, don't worry. Sometimes you can use medication for a short time, you know, like SSRIs or sleeping pills, because it's more important now to keep yourself stable than to do the ordinary, let's say. And that's important. And if you feel you recognize stimuli that activate you, try to avoid them as much as possible. Like, let's say I want to tell you that we found out that when people complain and tell horrible stories, it activates the body, the neurological system, as if you were doing guided imagery. You know, guided imagery is also a technique that works for the body. But when you tell a horrible story of something that happened to you or you happened to others, you just reactivate, you resurface the bad feelings. So I don't tell you not to share, because of course, share, talk, it's good. But don't do it too much, because it's like scratching something like as the scarf. You don't let it heal. So find the balance. I know it's an abstract instruction, but you'll find the balance between sharing and not reactivating the horror all the time. Okay, so now I go to the cognitive techniques. Cognitive thoughts, we are what we think. You know, there's a lot of theory about that, CBT, RCBT, a lot. But this basic principle is true. We are what we think. So don't lie to yourself, because your mind won't believe it. But try to give words to things, you know, label it, like what's happening now, it helps regulate. Find meaning in what's happening. We're fighting for our country, we're doing the right thing, we're strong. Find meaning in what's happening. It's a challenge, things may be better later. When we have meaning that comes from religion beliefs, from you know, any belief, it makes us stronger, because we can't live in reality where there's no meaning. Like, pain is unbearable this way. So try to find a narrative, as we say, something that makes sense to you, and that helps. And one about cognitive, that we tend to obsess when we are anxious. It's a defense mechanism, as if the mind subconsciously say, I'm going to be stuck to the horror thing, so it won't get out of control. That's why some people absorb too much news, see videos, and it becomes ruminating thoughts. You know the term, ruminating thoughts. When you have ruminating thoughts, try to stop it, as much as you can. I mean, distract yourself, go hear music, go see a sitcom, hug someone, that's also physical. When you hug someone more than 55 seconds, you get oxytocin, like it's the love hormone. When you get nervous, it's the, forgot the name. I'll find it in a minute. There's the stress hormone, cortisol. So we are trying to balance the hormones here. So whenever you feel you want to hug someone, it's good physically even. And when you have these ruminating thoughts, to a degree, it's normal, but we have to try to distract ourselves. If you can't help yourself with these ruminating thoughts, I highly advise you, you counsel a professional person, because let's say medication really helps. And it's not as if it's going to make things happy and easy, but it's going to make it less unbearable, which is our aim. Speeding things up. So I think the cognitive ways to label things, find meaning, and improve inner talk. We all always talk to ourselves, say, I can't take it, it's horrible, why is it happening? And the thoughts create the emotions. So again, if you recognize thoughts that repeat themselves, be aware of them, even write them down, and then debate them. Tell yourself, I know I do it quick, but tell yourself these are only thoughts and interpretations. Don't believe it as if it's reality, because it's not. It's only interpretation. And then debate it. Do it with someone you trust, not with judgment, like, how can you think this? No. But with someone who can understand your point of view, and then help you flex the inner talk. Say, right, maybe there's a possibility that the worst thing would happen, but at the same time, there's a lot of chance it won't. And you see, like the ability to have a flexible inner talk, it's like you can prepare some mantras to yourself, knowing yourself. Mantra that works for you, that you believe it, to help you go through this long, unbearable situation. And it really helps. I think prayers also help at this time, because it really gives a narrative, and it helps the inner talk. Any belief you have helps. And when you have these negative thoughts, I want to advise that you recognize them, acknowledge them. Don't burden yourself with saying, oh, I'm such a pessimist. Then it doesn't work. But give yourself, this is a trick that really works. Give yourself like 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at noon and night, because now it's extreme times, and take out all your negative thoughts, emotions, the wrong ones. Just let them out. You can talk, you can write, like a journal. You can record yourself, anything that works. And then tell yourself the rest of the time, I'm trying not to think about it. I'll meet my negative thoughts in 4 hours. It really hates to create boundaries between the overwhelming effect and sticking to regular stuff. So now I'll do the emotional and the interpersonal. I do it just the main things, and you'll read it later. And if we have time, we'll talk about it more. I think that I wrote this thing that bad times don't call for bad behaviors, only flexibility. So you know yourself, you have good habits that support you, that encourage you, and we all have bad habits. So at this time, it's okay to flex your routine. Give a little more space for bad habits, let's say eating sweet, or be lazy, or be cleaning all the time. So on one end, it's okay to flex the routine and give some place to bad habits. Usually don't demand that much energy. They're easy. At the same time, don't let the bad habits, you know, be the ruler, because it's a slippery slope. First of all, it's not good for you. And then you'll have to, you know, recover from it. You know, even smoking, drinking, being nervous and aggressive. Don't go to these habits. Just a little bit, you know, to be human. So this is very important, you know, sport, do some sport, music, think of other things. If you love to study, look at, acknowledge, take more and more knowledge, anything that works, right? With flexibility to this situation. Try to think if I don't miss anything. And as to the behavior and emotions, let's say, don't try to be anything else but yourself, because you get so many advice, me included. You can't be, you have to be yourself, you know, your authentic self. Because if you try to be a hero or live up to all yourself and others' expectations, you're going to end in greater pain, anger, depression. So you find this way to be your unique self. With this unique self, you can also give to others, you know, to your children, to your community, all these other things. That's the interpersonal thing. Find what's unique and really believe that you're good enough at least. So this is important to be, and we do believe that being close to others helps us with stress. So it's stress reduction, the way you want it. So meet friends, talk to people, be in community activities, be part of, go to protests, look at the solidarity of the good side of the human being. That really, really helps. We're about to finish this part, but I want to show you a short video clip of support to Israel from New York, Tokyo, and Paris. And it really goes directly to the neural system. When you see these things, it really opens our heart, where usually in stress we constrict, by the way. So that's why stretching is good, and stretching physically and mentally. So last but not least, before I show you this video, is really allow yourself to reduce stress. You don't have to suffer. You're not a better parent, a better, I don't know, I want to say Jewish person or Israeli. Oh, it's scam likely. Sorry. If you suffer, even though Jewish people tend to suffer. So this is not, you can suffer less, and it's okay, it's good for you, good for your children. So it's okay, anything you do is relevant as long as you don't hurt other people. So that answers the question you said, that it's really a long run. So these extreme times call for different measures, like, okay, and really expect the unusual. It's a paradox, right? Expect the unusual, and then you'll be less surprised and angry at the situation, right? And I really, really hope we're gonna be over it with as little damage and victims as possible. This is really terrible. I hope you'll be seeing your children soon. I also put some videos of lone soldiers meeting their parents. I think that keeping that vision a visual and sensational feeling in your heart, you know, thoughts create reality. So look at these videos. Do I have a moment to show you the solidarity, or you just watch it by yourself?
No,
It's okay?
I think it's wonderful to end on this note. If we could just take just a moment, there's not too many questions. And before we perhaps end on such a wonderful positive note, you've touched on, I think, what everyone is feeling in some way, myself included. Someone's asked a very sensitive question on how to prepare their children to attend funerals. Many
You're talking about the soldiers in Israel.
Yes, in Israel, many Israeli children, my own children included, are very familiar with going to funerals from, unfortunately, a younger age than many of their counterparts chutz la'aretz, abroad. How can parents best prepare their children for this event?
I want to say that it's in one of the slides, but never mind this. It's your children are lone soldiers, but they're not alone in Israel. They're surrounded with with army friends and commanders, with the adopting families, and you, Nefesh B'Nefesh, they're not alone. So one of the things you should encourage the children is to consult, talk to their friends, talk to people who are more experienced. I mean, maybe it's not going to be you exactly that's going to give them the guidelines. I'll tell you something about that, but encourage them not to keep the pain and doubts within. Consult. There's so many people in Israel that give consultation, advice, videos. So they're not alone. But for you, if you want to say something, first of all, I'm sure each and every one of you will talk from his personal position, from your beliefs, from your, and knowing your son or daughter, their specifics. But in general, acknowledge the fact that it's hard, it's heartbreaking, and every emotion they feel is okay, valid. Encourage them, if they go as soldiers, to try to connect to the role of a soldier, representative of the IDF. It might help them, contain the feelings for if the ceremony itself. But before and after, they're entitled to every emotion and behavior they want. It's all legitimate. And you're with them, you love them, you support them, you're even proud of them. I think that's it. There's no other, no other instruction except for as a person and as a soldier representative. So this might give strength, like teachers who have to work with, children. It gives you some strength when you're in a position. Like I talk to you in my normal life, I'm less, I'm less organized than now. So sometimes your profession helps you. So something like
Thank
along
you.
this line.
One more question is somebody is having a hard time finding the balance, taking some of your suggestions, going out for a movie with friends, going out for dinner, things that somehow we took for granted 10 days ago. On the other hand of that scale, feeling badly not only for her child who's serving, but for other soldiers and other parents. How does a parent find that balance between guilt and living, the importance of living?
Yeah. So I think acknowledging that you have like survival guilt and you feel like this is not the time for me to have fun, and saying what I said and emphasized, that it's good that you take care of yourself. It's not really joy. It's just a break from suffering, and it will help give you more strength to deal with the suffering. This is one thing, just the self-talk that gives it acknowledgement and encourages it. This is first. And then sometimes we need to balance things, like more practical, like if it doesn't come naturally. So you just create a routine. You say, I give 2 hours a day to do other things or meet people. Like you structure it and it helps. And then you do this thing even if you don't feel like it. And I think these days, the motivation to do anything is very low. We don't want to do anything. We just want it to be over. So sometimes you have to, you know, like pull yourself and say, now go out, do something, and because you don't want to. And then when you go out, sometimes you feel better. So even structure a routine and know it's for your own good and for your children's good. They want you to be safe and don't collapse. They want that. If I talk from their point of view.
Thank you. I think the last question before we end on that positive note, and Noya,
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry that I distract. I think it's a positive. I try to be realistic, like, you know, like realistic point of view, right? Because sometimes we can't be very positive and happy. I'm sorry that I distracted you. Sorry.
That's all good. Perhaps this is something both for you and for Noya. Noya, as your position as the director of the Lone Soldier Department, someone is asking how can they calm their nerves while they hear news of soldiers not having enough supplies, whether that's food, whether that's vests, whatever it may be.
Okay, so first of all, you know, I'm not representing the IDF, but from what I heard, that the IDF is getting a lot of supply really in these days. Even today, I heard that tons of supplies of helmet, and you know, protective suit and everything that the soldier will need. I want to believe that they will get before they go to any operational stage. And I know that there is a lot of also volunteers and centers that do collect also supplies and send them to the base. And we are dealing also with requests of soldiers that are asking and directing them to the right place. So really from this morning, what I heard is that the IDF received tons and they're distributing to every single base and unit that is in need, okay? Again, I'm not the army, but I want to believe that they know what they're doing and I have trust. Yeah.
Oh, if it's okay, I want to add something on the emotional thing side and practicality. When you talk to your children, you know, news, rumors are very, very effective, hurting us. So if you talk to your own son or daughter, the soldiers, ask them specifically if there's something they're missing. If they're missing something, one of the things that's more difficult from out of Israel is that maybe some of you don't have personal connections like in Israel, like Protectia, everybody as if knows somebody and it helps on a personal level. But still, I believe that if you know from your own soldier that something is missing, you can help them, maybe to Noya and to others, get what they want. I mean, this is sometimes how it works. That we need to take care of our private soldier, not only, but not, right?
And tell them not to be also to discuss this with their commander. That's the job of the commander, to make sure that they have everything that they need. You know, it's not only them, it's other Israeli who also are in the same place, and just to speak, just to stand for themselves and to ask the question, to not hesitate to ask.
And don't listen to rumors. There are conspiracy theories. They are really devastating. I mean, it's like, go on a diet. Don't listen to rumors and conspiracy theories. Just try to get the valid information from your son or from someone that you trust in Nefesh B'Nefesh or in Israel. Like, the more is not better, the better. So I think this is also a challenge. Yeah. Okay. So want to see the videos?
Yes.
I think
Please.
feeling solidarity is really helps. Which one you want? New York, it's like religious, I'll show you the Manhattan. I'll show you a few moments of Manhattan. Okay, see it? Does it work? Oh. You'll see in a minute what happens in the front. Amazing.
We're declaring this tonight. Spirit,
It's okay, this is one. I hope I'm not going to be thrown out of the, yeah, I was. There's also one from Tokyo and one's from Paris, and there are many others. I think feeling the solidarity, feeling that we're part of, I don't know how to say, part of something bigger than us. I think it's a mentality that helps, even though we have to carry our own specific bodily worry. It's both part of the situation. So I hope it helped a little bit, and you can rethink about it, read it, and I hope we'll meet in better days. Amen.
We can't thank you enough for your empathy, for your being so spot on. I think with what every one of us has been feeling and thinking, some of us afraid to face those emotions, afraid to face those thoughts, and you've given all of us place for them. And parents, we can't encourage you enough to call our hotline, to write to us at our Lone Soldier email address that was listed. And as mentioned, there is many, many hundreds actually of volunteers who have offered their time for emotional support for your children here in Israel and for you yourselves abroad in many countries and many different languages. Please don't hesitate. This is not a time to hesitate. This is a time to reach out, as the commercial used to go, reach out and touch someone and be touched. So thank you for joining us all. Rachel, thank you again. And Noya,
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Rachel, for this excellent presentation. It's exactly what we needed in this very hard time and stressful. Thank you for giving us the tools, cognitive, emotional, and thank you for all your knowledge and what you bring, what you brought us to today. And to you, the parents, again, I'm sending you a big hug, and hopefully it will end soon, and we'll see you here in Israel with your children, and we're here for you with all the love.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, watch all the movies and slides. It will be good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.